it's night and day watching them how they progressed throughout their 50s, 60s, and 70s that I've witnessed in helping people during those years. Night and day compared to people that put their finances on the back burner. And sadly, there's some folks that will just really make every excuse imaginable just to procrastinate and put it off. Some people feel a little bit in despair about that. And those are the folks, believe it or not, that I want to help the most. And some folks are the exact opposite. They feel they have plenty of money saved. What could I possibly be doing more? I've built up, $1 million or two or three. And those are the ones that I love chatting with as well, because I'm often able to teach them some techniques on how to protect and how to preserve those really nice balances that they've built up recently. Not to mention, most folks aren't going to spend that money if they tried in their lifetime. So that money is going to be going to their kids or grandkids. So I teach people how to get those large balances passed on to your family members with the goal of paying the IRS the absolute least amount possible in taxes. So grab your phone right now. Here's the phone number. And I'm going to be doing this for the next 5 people who are between the age of 50 and 75 who call the phone number I'm about to give. But I need you to have at least $250,000 saved for retirement, not including your house or your rental property. $250,000. And once again, this is for a 100% complimentary financial plan built by me personally, covering all those topics that I was just discussing. And here's the number to call right now. Someone from my team is going to take down your name, your number. They'll look at my calendar. They'll set up a time for us to chat later this week and start working on this together. And the number to call, here it is, 610-894-7415. Once again, 610-894-7415. And it doesn't matter if you're planning for retirement, if you're a few years away, or if you are already retired. I still want to talk with you. I've got something for everybody.
And as always, at this time of day, we want to thank you so much for joining us and spending part of your day here on Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti. Hope you have a great week ahead of you. Jim, as always, grateful for you taking the time to spend with the listeners. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
Thanks, Chris. I always love to remind our listeners how important it is to get that second opinion, especially with the stock market taking us on this crazy up and down roller coaster. Now is the time more than ever. The election's coming up. There's a lot of uncertainty going on. We just want to make sure you're going to be able to stay on track with your investments no matter what the markets throw our way. So stay safe, and I'm looking forward to next time.
If you have questions or concerns about reaching your retirement goals, then give Retire Ready Financial Group a call, 610-894-7415, or visit online at retirereadyfg.com.
Investment advice offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, Pennsylvania Registered Investment Advisor, able to provide investment advice in states where it is registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness.
This program is paid for by Retire Ready Financial Group. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Retire Ready Financial Group or their guests and do not reflect the views of WPHT or Odyssey. Today's program is pre-recorded.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Barry, Sable, and Friends on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with Friends, making an appearance on this Saturday morning. Grateful to you for spending some time with me. Sitting in studio with me is me. Calling numbers 855-839-1210. My guests that we're waiting to get online, Dan Quelliar, formerly of Channel 6 Action News. He should be with us in a few minutes. So, what's right is what's left. And if you do everything wrong, that's what you've got. We're going to talk about with Dan today, high inflation, 2 wars, high interest rates, crime, and more crime, rampant debt, problem with voter integrity, based media, and biased media, I should say, a push for immigrants to vote, a vice president campaigning and saying, gone is the day of the American dream. it's no longer available. This person, who is the enemy of capitalism and middle class, the backbone who built America. Wake up, America, and that means everybody. We don't have Dan, do we yet, Kurt? Oh, we do. Where is he? Bring him on in.
Hello?
There you go. Are you on with me, Dan?
Yes. Can
Good.
you hear me, Barry?
Yes, I can. I don't know if you heard.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. I don't know if you heard my little monologue or not. As you know, I normally do a show with Peter Mimo. Peter has fallen in love with his golf clubs. Can't make it this morning, so I appreciate you coming off the bench.
You well, it's my pleasure. I love that you're shaking things up here a little bit, and it's great, great timing. I got to tell you, man, though, there's big news this weekend. I don't know if you've heard, but
Tell me.
Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey apparently knows he's in trouble in his race against Dave McCormick. Casey now is turning people's heads, including mine, with this new campaign ad. Did you see this new campaign ad?
Tell me.
He now has a campaign ad this weekend that highlights how he bucked Biden and sided with former President Trump. He's siding with Trump. The ad shows a married couple with different political views, each praising Casey as an independent, highlighting his support for Trump's trade policies, and that he worked to protect fracking from the Biden administration. Wow. And I said, what? And he says, this ad, so I looked into it. The ad, called Bliss, features a Republican woman named Mary Grace and her Democrat husband, Joe, and the ad says, our marriage, pure bliss.
Wow.
But on politics, we just don't agree, except for Bob Casey. He's independent, Mary Grace says, with her husband chiming in, that's right.
You know
Boy,
what?
I said, whoa, my God.
Listen,
This is a dangerous move. This guy's changing his whole, now siding with Trump. He very well could alienate his left-wing base, as you know, Barry.
Of course. Well, let's talk about a few things. Number one, you know why I have you coming off the bench, because to be honest with you, you're a walking encyclopedia. You are through thick and thin a reporter, always will be a reporter, is on top of everything. So my question to you is, how can Casey, 123,000 jobs depending on fracking, how could he possibly walk away from that, number one, and defend the fact that we shouldn't do fracking? Second of all, Bob Casey wants to keep his job. And frankly, his Democratic Party is off the rails, man. I mean, what's going on, Dan, with all of these issues? Anybody that's a Democrat, and I understand Democrats stick with Democrats, but they're going to lose a lot of positions with the awkward things that these people are thinking. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. And you know what? It's people, the wool from people's eyes has come off now. For years, they have told us everything is fine and we have to do this and we have to do that. And we saw the result. The result was a disaster with these policies that they have at the open border, for instance, and giving away the cards for people to spend, for them, these immigrants to come in here and spend all this money from the taxpayers. In the meantime, African Americans and other people notice, hey, we didn't get that kind of treatment. We didn't get those kind of cards. And you think that people are going to just let this happen and not react when they've been American citizens, are American citizens? They're not getting these kinds of privileges and health care and debit cards. And these people coming in from all over the world are getting all this free stuff. What do you think the result is going to be? The result is people are going to vote against you and your policy. Yep. And the polls are showing that. I don't know if you saw the latest polls, Barry, but the latest presidential polling, Nate Silver has it at 50.2 for Trump and 49.5 for Harris.
Yes.
And overall, the RCP battleground map has Trump Vance winning with 312 electoral votes to Harris Walsh with 226. But you know what? I'm one of those that never likes to count his chickens before the eggs hatch. So let's just see where it goes. But I'll just say this, Barry. Things are looking good.
Yeah. Well, listen, Trump is doing a terrific job. I think he's getting his message across. The other night, as you saw the interview with Kamala Harris and Brett Baer, oh, my God, I could not believe my ears. He asks a question, and she responds about Trump. He asks, are you apologetic for the people that lost their lives in Afghanistan, the young soldiers? she talks about Trump. I mean, I've never seen anybody circulate the way she did and avoid answers. People are seeing through this. This person who people are going to vote for is responsible for the welfare of Americans, and she is not sincere, and that in itself has shown through. Do you not agree?
I absolutely agree. And you know what? I studied nonverbal communication when I was in college, but you don't have to be someone who studied it. You can see that she was lying when she was asked about the mom who blamed Harris and Biden after her daughter was killed by an illegal.
Yep.
She said, I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss. Unfortunately, her body language said she was not sorry, shaking her head from left to right, as she said, I am so sorry for her loss. Instead of in the affirmative up and down head movement, confirming her verbal communication. And then she essentially said it was Trump's fault.
Yeah,
I could always tell a liar, Barry, when I was doing news interviews, when their body language did not correlate with their verbal communication.
Yep.
And you know what, Barry? Here's another thing. She keeps saying, turn the page. But she is the page, Barry.
That's right.
Not being able to say one thing she would do differently than Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to have you, as you know, for a half hour, and then my friend Steve DiOrio, who is down in Winona, is going to have you for the next half hour, and I'm going to talk about the border when I am alone. This is the first time, Dan, between you and I am in studio by myself without my sidekick, Mr. Mimo.
That's a big change, dude, because you're always in there with your sidekick.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter Nimmo is always in there with you, but as you said, he likes those golf clubs, and he's out there on the golf course somewhere on this beautiful day.
Exactly.
Hey, did you see? I think Kamala made a major mistake by not showing up at the Al Smith dinner the other night.
Of course.
Very disrespectful to Catholics.
Yep.
And the last presidential candidate, it turns out, to skip that dinner was Walter Mondale. And you know how that ended up.
Yep, exactly.
He ended up losing in a landslide 49-1. And I heard someone say last night, Kamala can't shoot straight, and her running mate Walz can't even load his own gun.
That's right. Let me ask you a question, though. You mentioned that. Dan, why do you think she did not show up for that event? There were all the major hitters there. Everybody was taking shots there. Bloomberg was there. Schumer was there. Obviously, Trump and his wife, his lovely wife, oh, my God, how stunning is she, was there. And so many, even Letitia James was there. I was a little shocked at that one. But having said all that, and the mayor, he took a pretty good shot, too. It was there to have a good time and make fun of everybody and everything. Why didn't she have the class to show up? Like she did not show up to Arlington Cemetery, if you remember. How could you miss these strategic things that show you have empathy and a heart? Explain that to me as a reporter.
Another major blunder, Barry. It's hard to explain this, how, it's like, go have a little fun at Trump's expense, do what people do at these dinners. But on the same day, she was out there making campaign speeches, chastising the pro-life movement.
Yep.
So instead of being at the Al Smith Catholic dinner, she's chastising Catholics, the pro-lifers who are out there trying to change the course of abortion in the nation, or at least try to curb it a little bit. But I can't explain it, Barry. It was a major blunder, and that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah. Let me ask you, I want to switch gears for 2 seconds, because this crossed my desk this morning, and it's upsetting. Women of the University of the Nevada volleyball team are protesting and not playing against, I guess it would be San Jose State University, because there's a transgender man playing. And they feel, based on safety and unfair competition, they refuse to play in the matches to advance injustice and to make athletes whole. Let me ask you a question. Where's the Me Too movement? Where is that movement for that, Dan? I mean, in all fairness, it's non-existent. Why, Dan?
Because it doesn't fit their narrative. If it doesn't fit their narrative, which is obviously all about going against the right and conservatives and Republicans, if it doesn't fit that narrative, if it's going to hurt them, they don't want anything to do with it. And that's why it's a fraud.
Yep.
It's an absolute fraud, this Me Too movement and this other. They come up with these slogans, and then they quickly abandon those slogans when stuff like this happens, like what you're talking about right now.
Yep.
And so, it's just like, look through this is all, look through guys that they put up there every day. They put up these slogans and, this happens, and all of a sudden they drop the slogan and nobody heard it. No one, you don't hear from them anymore.
Yeah, and that's what's happened. And as you know, I'll take bragging rights. I used to date a former Miss America. And Gretchen Carlson, when that organization was on its back, ruined that organization, around for 100 years, now basically non-existent, not in Atlantic City anymore. What bothers me, if you are going to take a stand, take a stand. Do not relinquish your thoughts, and do not become non-existent when we need you so bad. Women need women so bad, and it's upsetting to me because nobody loves women more than me, and you know that.
Well, that's a good point, Barry, and you do have a strong love of women, and yeah, that's a shame. Stick to your principles. Stick to what you're all about, and if you don't, this is what happens. It turns out a disaster. Yeah. But you know what, Barry? It's also interesting that some Democratic candidates that are running for the U.S. Senate are now distancing themselves from Kamala.
Yep.
This representative, Slotkin, is warning that her campaign in polls show that Harris is underwater in Michigan, where Slotkin is running for the Senate. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, more Republican candidates are tying themselves to Trump.
Yep.
While some Democrats are keeping their distance from Harris.
Tell me about independence, Dan. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing, Here's the thing. I'll say this about independence because I'm one myself. I am an independent. Uh-huh. And I did that because when I was in the news business and I'm doing interviews with both Republican candidates or Senate Democratic candidates or independents, they're going to look you up. They're going to find out where you are registered. And, of course, I was going to be independent because I wanted to decide for myself which candidate I was going to back. So I'll tell you that independents are seeing the same thing that we're seeing. They're seeing what's going on in our country and the world, and they know that when they're asked that question, were you better off today than you were 4 years ago, the answer is, of course, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right now, in the latest polls, the latest Gallup poll, 52% say no, they're not better off, and only 39% say they are better off. So there you go. Whether you're an independent, whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat, you can see the same thing that everyone else is seeing, and it's quite obvious.
Listen, my friend, we are up against a break. You know I'm holding you for another 15 minutes. You have been listening to The Barry Sable Show on Saturday today. We will see you on the other side.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi,
Dan?
I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Pennsylvania gets the full court press in presidential politics as days dwindle before the big vote. Someone launched a drone at the home of Israel's prime minister. Nobody was hurt. A former Philadelphia bank is being turned into a center for arts and culture with rehab work through the end of next year.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy. Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-200-1966. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-200-1966. That's 800-200-1966 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. Call 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100. 800-290-7100.
The 2024 presidential election is here. With the race neck and neck and with so much at stake, MSNBC has the in-depth coverage and analysis you need. Our reporters are on the ground, and we're breaking down the numbers until every last vote is counted, providing you with insight on what it all means for the future of our country. Watch coverage of the 2024 presidential election Tuesday, November 5th, and listen to MSNBC Live on the free Odyssey app or wherever you watch MSNBC.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
I'm back. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Of course you're not dreaming. It is not Sunday, 10 o'clock. It is Saturday, past 10, 20 after to be exact, with my special guest, Dan Quelliard. Dan, did I lose you? Are you still with me, my dear friend?
Still here, Barry. Still
there you
here.
go. All right, we're done with the music. So, Dan, I always ask Peter, what's on your mind? But hold on. Before I do that, my friend, do we have another special guest on, Kurt? Do we have him?
Thank you, Tim Waltz.
Hold on 1 second. Don't you go anywhere, Dan.
I'm voting for personal responsibility.
I don't know if we have him or not. Do we, Kirk?
Criminals are being put back on the streets. Kamala Harris.
Go ahead, tell me.
I'm voting for the next
Okay.
Supreme Court
I had a
justice.
special guest for you, Dan, but we'll get him when he gets a moment to break in. So, you know, huh?
We got some exciting news.
Oh, my God. Now I've lost Dan. So
Sable
let
and
me give
Dan
you guys a joke while we're getting Dan. A joke for the women who I love. Here's all you have to know about men and women. Women are crazy, and men are stupid. And the main reason women are crazy, is that men are stupid. Dan's not around to comment on that, but I found that to be funny. Are you there, Dan? Nope, he's not there yet. So let me give you guys another one. People say that money is not the key to happiness. But I always figured if you have enough money, you could always make a key. Do we have Dan to comment to that one? Nope, not yet. Right or wrong, Kirk, we don't have him. So,
You have me now, Barry. Can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, I just had 2 little jokes. I was looking for you to comment. You were, I guess you went to the men's room for a minute. What's going on, my friend?
Actually, I got disconnected somehow, some way. So
There you go. Dan, you know, I always ask Peter, What's on your mind, Peter? What are the things that are troubling you? There's so many complications going on in the country and the world today. You as a reporter, what's going on in your mind, my friend?
Well, I'll tell you what. There are several things going on my mind. I've been watching with interest what's going on in Israel.
Yes.
A huge victory for Israel on Thursday with confirmation that Sinwar, the mastermind behind the horrific attacks and killings of innocents last year on October 7th, was killed. A big, big moment.
Yep.
But the mission's not over, Barry. We have 101 hostages, some of them Americans, still being held. The prime minister sent an olive leaf to the surviving terrorists.
Yep.
Quote, let our hostages go and we will let you escape with your lives.
Yep.
Otherwise, we will hunt you down and kill you just like the rest of them.
Yeah.
And what is happening here by this is that Iran has also been discredited because this shows that they cannot protect their proxies from being hunted down and killed.
Yes.
So that's big news as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know, but they tried to send a drone to Prime Minister Netanyahu's home, targeting his home, but it failed. So it's
Thank God.
It's a situation. We got to keep an eye on it.
Right.
Israel is our friend, has long been our friend, and we support Israel. I know I do, and I've always supported Israel, but we have to keep an eye on it, Barry. To keep an eye on the situation.
Yeah.
Another thing,
Go ahead.
Another thing on my mind is Obama's out there trying to bridge the gap in this election. But what I've noticed that he doesn't seem to have it anymore, Barry. I remember when I was covering the Democratic Convention in Boston in 2004, and he made that incredible speech at the convention that blew everybody away. And the next morning I woke up early trying to find him because I wanted to shake his hand, and I had just missed him. But now it's a different story. I mean, and it reminds me of that song by Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice, with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. He became very, very rich. The guy has 4 mansions now. And it's no wonder that he seems out of touch with real Americans who are out there trying to make a...
I'm with you. I want to comment to both, but we have a special guest on.
We'll bring you up.
Special guest, are you there?
Danielle's in the house.
We have Daniel Mazza DeVenti.
Where's Steve DiOrio?
For
we don't have him yet. I was going to surprise you, Dan. Live, Steve DiOrio, Cruising 92.1 is in Winona. And for the first time that I've ever known, we were going to blend his show with our show and you together. I don't think we could get him. Sounds like he's on the air somewhere, but let's you and I continue. Kurt, what do we do with that?
Activity there and would end in Glassboro.
Oh my God, I'm lost, Dan. All right, so I will answer Dan in 2 ways. Number one, I am disappointed in President Obama. Can we cut that off so I could talk, please? Kurt, I know that I'm screwing you up here pretty good, but to me, there was a time when presidents had respect for former presidents. This country that we're living in today, the times are different. What happened to the elegance? What happens to the respect? It's all gone. I don't see it. Now I have Steve DiOrio, but do I have Dan Cuellar? No? Go ahead. Steve, how are you, my friend? I don't have him either. I'm having a heck of a day today. Well, let me continue, Kirk. We're doing the best we can. And I will answer to Israel. To me, I'm proud of Israel. The question, who do I have now?
Hey,
Steve, do I have you?
Yes. Do you have Dan on the phone?
Well,
Dan,
we had him. We're having trouble with 2. You're a heavyweight. He's a heavyweight. Hard for me to handle 2 of you guys. Put you on my shoulders and carry you. Tell us what's going on down there, Steve. 92.1, cruising remote from Winona.
Well, thank you for sharing us. We're record-breaking. 1210 WPHT, Barry Sable with the Steve DiOrio Show, WVLT. I'm going to let Beth address what's going on here today. Beth Sawyer.
Well, hello, Barry. We're hoping you come on over after your show. We are live from 4-Star Event Catering, located at 595 Princeton Boulevard. We are having a Too Big to Rig rally with America First Republicans of New Jersey.
Wow.
We have co-founder Mike Byrne in the house. We have over 100 Trump signs here. We're going to be handing out 100 free Trump Vance yard signs, so come out and get them. We have free food. We have Dr. Soloway, who's going to be here. We have the infamous Mike Crispy, who spoke on stage at the Wildwood rally for President Trump, and President Trump said it was one of the best speeches he's ever heard.
Well, listen, Beth, you know, when you're around, you have me at hello. I guess we lost them. They're still there. You still there? I guess not. But here's the point, Beth. If you are offering Uncle Barry free food, my God, I'll be on the way as soon as this show is over. We are over at 11 o'clock. I should see you precisely by 11:45. There we go. We're lost. We have Dan back now. We're having fun. Dan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here now. I don't know what's going on. I got disconnected twice, but I'm back.
I wanted to surprise you. It was the first time I've ever heard. We had Steve live on the air, Steve DiOrio from Cruisin' 92.1, remote from Winona. Beth Sawyer's there. Mike Crispy's going to be there. There's a host of people. It's going to be a tremendous event. But let's you and I continue. But I just wanted to comment to you about Israel. The question is Israel supposed to be reactive or proactive? That's a big concern of theirs, my friend.
I agree, and here the Biden administration wanted to keep keep Israel out of where they found this guy Sinwar. They didn't want Israel to go in there, and that's exactly where they found him hiding, in the same area that Kamala and President Biden didn't want Israel to go in, and that's where they found the terrorists. So it's always better for Israel to do their own thing, and they should, because that's their country. They were the ones that were attacked. It's like another country telling us after we were attacked on 9/11 what to do.
That's right.
Ain't going to happen.
Well, leaders have to be leaders, and when you represent your country and your constituency, you have to lead by example. You can't be letting the tail wag the dog. There's no question the United States of America is very instrumental in helping their democratic ally, and we need, as Israel, and when I say we, meaning Israel, their help militarily-wise and financial-wise. But the bottom line is Israel has to make decisions for Israel. They've never had peace over there, and frankly, I'm not so sure they ever will. They have to do, at this particular time, what they need to do to secure their borders. And as you know, we don't need Steve. I'll get Steve later. That's okay. The point is I wanted to get you and Steve on at the same time. I know you're going to be leaving me in a few minutes, and we lost Dan. That's okay. So the bottom line is that I think when we talked about Casey, I think Casey realizes the following, and I wrote this down as a quote. Many of the swing voters here, whose livelihoods rise and fall with the fortunes of the fossil fuel energy, have not forgotten the last time Harris ran for president, meaning the people of Pennsylvania, when she called for a ban on fracking. What that means is all of these jobs would be lost. Forget about all the other ramifications. In Pennsylvania, Casey's not a dummy. He knows that immigrants coming into this country are costing this country a fortune. He knows fracking is not healthy. He knows education with boys in girls' sports and walking into girls' bathrooms is not working. He knows crime in the state of Pennsylvania is now rising. To obtain the votes of women, minorities, he knows that minorities are behind the eight ball, and he sees that things are switching. He has to realize in his heart, if he wants to remain in office, he's going to have to make adjustments. So that's the way it goes. Listen, we are up against the break. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show, yes, on Saturday. We will see you right after the break. Please don't leave me.
Dom Giordano.
Scott Presler. All right, let's calm him down. Got a cold compress on because it's massive what he's going to report today here.
In the last 7 days, Democrats added 9,400 voters. At the same time, Republicans added 22,000 voters. Something earthquaking is happening across Pennsylvania.
It's Dom time. Dom Giordano. Weekdays noon till 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Natural disasters happen every year. Fires, hurricanes, tornadoes. And with that, your most important moments recorded on VHS, camcorder tapes, and 8mm could all be gone in an instant. Cherished moments like your wedding, baby's first steps, family trips to Yellowstone. Lost. Enter Legacy Box. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box protects your irreplaceable memories from the threat of natural disaster by digitally preserving them onto thumb drive, DVD, or the cloud, so they're safe forever. Legacy Box is the safest and easiest way to preserve your past, which is why it's been trusted by over 1 million families. Send Legacy Box your home movies, photos, and film. Their team of trained professionals will do the rest right here in the U.S. For a limited time, Legacy Box is offering radio listeners an incredible 50% off. Go to legacybox.com/value and save 50% when you digitize your memories. That's legacybox.com/value.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Let me tell you about my buddy, Dr. Mike Veneria, the dental implant master. Implant dentistry is an art form, and as one of South Jersey's top implant dentists, Dr. Mike gives you the self-confidence boost you deserve. Schedule your free implant consultation today. Dr. Veneria's office exceeds CDC guidelines and has always maintained the strictest infection control with centralized UV sterilization of airflow to ensure your safety. Locations right over the bridge in Cinnaminson and Woodbury, 856-786-2020 or veneriadental.com.
You may be ready for retirement, but is your money? Learn how to make your money work overtime. Tune in to The Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen. Saturdays at 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
They don't call her Confiscation Kamala for nothing. Don't take it from us.
And I support a mandatory buyback program.
A mandatory buyback program? That means the government forcing you to turn in your firearms. To what lengths would Kamala go? Well, she doesn't even support the individual right to own a firearm.
I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country.
We get it. Sometimes it's tough to understand what she's talking about. But on the Second Amendment and your rights, Confiscation Kamala has been crystal clear. Her gun control agenda comes straight from that petri dish of bad ideas that is California. She can claim to be a gun owner all she wants, but we all know she's the same anti-gun California radical she's always been. Don't be left defenseless. Defeat Confiscation Kamala. Vote Trump like your life depends on it, because it does. NRA Political Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NRAPVF.org.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yes, indeedy. We are. Am I back, Kirk? Or not yet? Am I live? There you go. I guess I'm live. By the way, if you would like to listen to any of our past shows, you can go to 1210WPHT.com, hit podcasts, then weekends, and you will surely see Barry Sable and Friends. This is, so you know, the first time I'm in studio by myself. No Peter, no other friends. So it gives me an opportunity to really express myself. And I want to talk to you guys about the border. To me, this is a critical issue. And there's so many issues, as we know. We could talk about the Ukraine war. Why hasn't that been settled? We could talk about what's going on in Israel. Why isn't that settled? And how do we get to that point? We could talk about inflation. We could talk about the economy. I want to concentrate on the border because it has many ramifications. So let me start with saying that sometime in the spring, I guess it was May, I had the opportunity to be invited by Morgan Ortagus and the Polaris Group to visit the Yuma border. And what an experience that was. In 36 hours, you could not believe the occurrences that are taking place. Number one, we were there and we went to the food center, and you should see all of the food that was lined up for all of these migrants that are coming in. We had people in our own streets, homeless people that are not eating and not taken care of. But we found the money for people that are strangers. Second of all, hospitals, as I mentioned before, this to me is really important. There was a hospital down there that accrued a bill for like $26 million for illegals that are coming through. And they are pressed to take care of these people, their health-wise, pregnant women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the United States government at that time did not subsidize and pay them back. Farm crop owners, people that are creating and making crops down there. Yuma, Arizona is supposed to be the largest leaf producer of vegetables in the United States. And when these illegals are crossing through the border, it's astoundingly crazy because they contaminate. Then these farmers have to go and dig around the crops, and they're losing millions of dollars in doing this. But what was the craziest of all crazy for me was we're at the border. I'm there with Dave McCormick, who is running for senator of Pennsylvania. I'm there with Curtis Bashaw, who is, as you know, running for office in the state of New Jersey. And we're looking at each other 2:30 in the morning, and out from across the wall that Trump was building comes like 60 migrants. I couldn't believe it. They lined them up, and I looked at these people, and then they started interrogating and asking them questions. Where are you from? And some of the people said, we're from China. Communist China? And some people were from Syria. Our enemies? This is where people are coming from, and we're just letting these people in? It didn't make any sense to me. And the next morning, went to a facility where people were being processed. Looks like they were there for a half hour, asked their name, asked where they're from. Bingo. They're whisked off, whether it be by plane or bus, to any destination in the United States of America. None of this made sense to me. So why am I concentrating on this morning? Because $66 billion has been spent on illegals in this country. No money for Americans. It was like unbelievable to me, given $10,000 in gift cards, clothes, education, food, living quarters, cell phones. It's just nuts. And we have so many people in this country that have needs. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, why are you ignoring them? They are Americans. So none of this stuff makes sense to me. And then I've attended school board meetings, and teachers are complaining that they have students in their classes that do not speak English. This time is taken away from our own students. What the heck is going on here? It doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you? I don't think so. In 2022, under this administration, 2.58 million roughly illegals entered this country. In 2021, 1.87. So we really don't know because we can't figure out how many gotaways are gone. But to make a long story short, when Trump was in office, for his years, there were about 400,000. For me, that's 400,000 too many. But he was building a wall. Why has this administration not said to the American people, we're going to put an end to this? Now Kamala Harris goes down there and visits the border. I got to the border before Kamala Harris visited the border. Doesn't make any sense to me. I talked to border agents, and they were crying like crazy. Remember the whipping when the atrocity that they were whipping illegals, which wasn't so. I have to tell you the truth, people. I know this is a conservative radio station, and I know that everybody basically on the station is going to vote to the right. But if you are listening, as I say, from the left, you have to consider these issues. It's just crazy to me. I ask you, How can this administration turn its back on children? There are so many children, roughly 300,000 children that came through the border they're not accounted for. What that means is they were sold either into sex slavery or work slavery. I mean, it's just nuts. Doesn't anybody care? Don't we care about people? If you're going to let them in, fly them in. Just fly them in. Don't make them go through the Darien Gap, and don't make them go through hardships. So many women with young children that are pregnant. It doesn't make sense to me. I have to tell you, I'm trying to get a lot out in one session. I watched Mayorkas the other day being questioned, and as you know, he's our Secretary of Defense. And the bottom line is our interior for our country. And he did not know, when asked by Ted Cruz, what the bans were for. We all know what the bans are for. Different colors, different amount of money that are on the cartel. Don't we care about fentanyl that has come into this country and what it's done to our children? I don't know, 100,000 people a year die of fentanyl. Don't we care about Americans? Don't we? Isn't that something we need to really look at? I talk about Israel, and I'm going to have something for you guys at the end of the next session that to me is touching to me. Hopefully it's touching to you. My question to you is, we have Americans that are in Israel that are being, not in Israel, in Gaza, that are being held hostage. Why hasn't anybody gone after them? Why hasn't this administration said, we want our Americans back? And if not, we're coming for you, just like Rambo said. Why not? Our people in Afghanistan, we left Americans in Afghanistan. We left people in Afghanistan that were helping this country. We left them. Who knows, God forbid, what happened to them. So I ask you today, when you go to vote, don't you have to be cognizant of this? Don't you have to be cognizant? Doesn't this administration care about American lives? How about the lives of women that have been raped and killed over the last year and a half or 2 years or even longer? How about the gangs that are in Colorado today that are defacing apartment buildings and putting lives at risk? Don't we care? Why are there no protests for the people in Ukraine and Russia, the lives that are lost there? Don't we have humanistic issues there as well? Why aren't we protesting? Why is it simply Israel? I ask you about deportation. When you go to vote, aren't you concerned that we need to at least deport and start with people that have entered this country illegally, that have broke our laws, that are doing heinous crimes in this country? I ask you to think about that. I ask you to think about so many issues. And if Joe Biden, I will say this much, this bothered me, did such a great job, his head should be on Mount Rushmore, they said. Why is Harris promising to fix everything in one day? It doesn't make sense to me. What bothers me, rapid fire, Barry Sable, what bothers me is that twice former President Trump has had his life threatened. It doesn't make sense to me that the Secret Service was that sloppy. DEI, you're going to have incompetent people? No, it doesn't make any sense to me. I want to ask you another question. In Arizona, the Supreme Court voted 5-4, thank God, to have to provide proof of citizenship to vote. I ask you, this left party is happy if you don't have a documentation, it's okay for you to vote. That, to me, is a scary issue. Wow, I am out of breath. Please don't leave me. I have something for you on the other side. You have been listening to The Barry Sable Show with friends. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. I need you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, Call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. The NFL season continues on, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. You can get started with $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Looking ahead to Sunday, your Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. The Eagles are favored by 3. I would take the under on this at 43.5, or you can build this same game parlay. Jalen Hurts to score an anytime touchdown. Saquon Barkley on the under for rushing yards. He has gone under 86.5 rushing yards in 10 of his last 14 games. And go Jalen Hurts on the over for passing yards. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg to make every moment more this NFL season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 1210 WPHT. 21 and over, President PA. First online, real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Tune in tonight starting at 7 p.m. for the Bob Pantano Saturday Night Dance Party. Live from Adelphia in Deptford, the Bob Pantano Saturday Night Dance Party is broadcast exclusively on 98.1 HD2 and Bob Pantano Dance Party Radio on the Odyssey app. Powered by Evans Pest Control.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-200-1966, 800-200-1966, or biglou.com. Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yes, indeedy, I am back. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with Friends, a Saturday version. Hopefully tomorrow at 10 o'clock you will listen. I will be with my go-to guy, Peter Mimo. Looking forward to having you with us. But I wanted to take you through something that I found I was thinking about last night as I was sleeping and it was dark. And I'm going to close my eyes. And what I'm asking is, if you're not driving, I want you to close your eyes too, and I want you to picture something. I want you to picture that you are in a dark tunnel, no light. I want you to picture that your hands are tied behind your back. and your feet are tied with no shoes, and your mouth is duct taped, and you've been in this 4-foot by 6-foot dark tunnel for 365 days. You are hungry, you are cold, and no one's coming to get you. Has the world and Israel and the American administration forgot me? Are they going to come get me? I want you to think about that. I want you to think about what it's like to be a hostage. Is my parents okay? When I was taken hostage, my mom had cancer. Is she still alive? How are my kids doing? How's my wife doing? What's the state of Israel doing? I want you to think about that. This is a sad state of time, my friends. We have issues that are going on in this country and around the world. We have to take these issues extremely, extremely sensitive to our hearts. When we go in to vote on November 5th, I want everybody, Democrat, Republican, Independent, to think about the American lives that we have lost because this administration just hasn't cared. You saw Kamala Harris the other day in Bret Baier talking about the kids, not the kids, just the women that lost their lives, and asked, do you apologize? Oh, I feel so sorry. But you couldn't apologize. That was on your watch, lady. It was your responsibility to make sure that our women, our children are safe. Don't you care about us? Wow. So just something that I want you to think about. For me, it's hard to comprehend how many people think incorrectly today. I have never had a love for politics, and I still don't. Yes, I'm on the air, but frankly, I'm on the air because I believe it's important and necessary. But it didn't matter to me in the past if a Democrat or Republican was in office, as long as the Russians, and now we have to worry about everybody else. We're not coming up the turnpike. I didn't care. I was assuming that all presidents of all the parties cared about us. And these people in powerful political positions put America's people first. I don't see that happening anymore. So I ask you, 50% of this country, are you that cold? Are you that naive? Are you that uninformed? Or is it that you just don't care? I ask of everybody at this particular time and moment, put your heads on straight. We need to get our economy back in order. We need to be concerned about the young people of today, the youth of today. I don't like what's going on in colleges anymore. I don't like, we had Stanley Ridgely on a week or two ago, and he was telling us about brutal minds, what's happening. I don't like what's happening in the education system today, and neither should you. I don't like what's going on with crime today, neither should you. So the bottom line is November 5th is rapidly approaching. We really have to impress upon everybody. All of us have to get out and vote, vote, vote. We have to talk to people that maybe we could sway their decisions. We can't afford to go through another 4 years of this. It's just not possible. So my thoughts are, if you're around tomorrow, I'm with Studio with Peter Mimo. I'd love to have you call in and express yourself. With 30 seconds to go, let me tell you what I have. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. The question isn't who's going to let me, it's who is going to stop me. Yes, you have been listening to The Barry Sable Show with me, Barry Sable. Philly, on your busy Saturday, grateful to you for spending some time with me. You have been listening intently, and I appreciate Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Have a great week, a healthy week, a safe week, and I will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thanks for always being there for me. I surely appreciate you.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Between email addresses, social media, apps, this, that, and the other thing, I can't keep track of all my passwords anymore. I've had to write them down on a notepad and store them in a safe place. I'm tired of having to reset my password and then get the verification email and then go in and change it. And then they tell me that it's not strong enough. Can you throw a few characters on the end? How about a money sign? Oh, don't forget the capital letter. It's got to be between 8 and 12s. There's too many consonants.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448.
This is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like.